Well, another day, another Triumph, because the company just doesn't stop. That is the newest one on the block, the Triumph Street Triple S. The old one was really good and they're telling us that one is even better by miles. Let's find out more. From the looks of it, you wouldn't think of it as anything more than a midlife refresh. Because the tank looks exactly like the old one, the radiator cowling has been pared back, the tail is sharp like the old RX model but has that same tail lamp design. And up front, Triumph has brought the twin headlights, the air scoop and the crest from the new Speed Triple. It's all a bit too familiar, but when you look close, you will spot the much higher end details like the forged foot peg mounts, the classy reworking of the surround on the old analog digital meters and so forth. But forget your impressions of the motorcycle on first sight, because A, it looks good in the same way that the old one did. B, it feels and looks more expensive, and most importantly C, it is almost all new all the way, and that includes the engine. So the big change now is of course the engine. So that is a 765cc 3-cylinder engine, but it's not based on the old Street Triple, it's based on the Daytona. And from there, they bored it and stroked it to create this new displacement. Now, what we need to understand is that the bore increased more than the stroke, so the engine is more over square than before, and that technically should mean that it makes more power on top. But that isn't how the engine feels. Unlike the 2016 model, which felt like the gearing was stall or that the torque was too high up in the revs, the 2017 S feels enthusiastic within a couple of thousand RPMs off idle. Power builds in a linear fashion and it feels notably quicker than the old model. This is even more impressive when you factor in the idea that the S is a base model and the R and RS models, we are sure they're coming later, will offer even more power and torque. The new engine is mounted from an aluminium frame that resembles the old one, but the swing arm is new to accommodate the bigger Euro 4 spec underbelly exhaust. But don't go away just yet, because Triumph are shrewdly offering a substantial difference on the three models on the chassis front, and the least of that is the minor difference in steering geometry. The Triumph Street Triple comes in 3 models and the S is the base model. So when I saw the suspension spec, I was a little bit surprised, because these silver upside down forks are actually Showa separate function forks, and we're really impressed with these, because when I tested them on the Versys of course they have preload adjustment, but on the Versys these are really impressive because they give it such great ride quality. At the bottom is another marker for the S, and that's the Nissin disc brake. On the other 2 models you would get Brembos. And at the back, if you look here, you got a remote reservoir on the Showa shock, and that one is preload adjustable. Oh, I'm so impressed with this motorcycle, because the refinement levels of the Street Triple have just taken another jump forward. The engine is super smooth, and at street speed it just sounds great. But the full credit to the suspension, because it just does such a fantastic job. On bad roads it absorbs a lot, on intermediate roads you can almost not believe how smooth it feels, and smooth roads feel absolutely plush. I am so happy. Also new this year is Triumph's arch nemesis, the Kawasaki Z900. Unfortunately, we haven't tested it yet, but the story of the Kawasaki is similar. The new Z is lighter and sharper, and we really have to see how the two motorcycles stack up. But this much is for sure. Triumph is offering an excellent suspension spec and more power, and they've gone and added traction control as standard. They've really upped the value quotient of the Street Triple, which is already an amazing motorcycle to ride and own. So unquestionably, this Street Triple absolutely trumps the old one, and the old one was already a very nice motorcycle. And to me, the big changes are the engine and the suspension, both of which absolutely change what you think this motorcycle should be and will be capable of. What would I change? Personally, I've not been a fan of this shape of the headlight since I saw them on the Speed Triple. Still not a fan, and to me, it's a subjective thing, but it's there. The other thing is the price. At 8 lakhs, the old one was an expensive motorcycle. At 8.5, this one is certainly more value, but it is still a slightly expensive motorcycle to buy.